All right, part two. Ryan earns $25 per hour as a tutor at a college library. Okay, so 25 per hour. Now I know to put the X behind it because of that word per. That's a huge indicator of that we have to use a variable because we don't know how many hours that he worked yet. He sets a weekly spending budget of $130. Okay, now this is gonna be a weird part. Usually when you set a budget, that means that that's how much you are allowing yourself to spend in a certain week or a certain month or whatever. So we're gonna use a minus 130 for that, right? Because that's gonna represent how much money we could eventually get to, but no more than, right? And he puts the remaining money in a savings account. How many hours must he work this week in order to have at least an extra 50? Okay, so we know the 50 is what the goal is trying to be. He wants that extra 50, and we know it's positive because I wouldn't put a negative 50 there. That means I'm going to be spending more than I need. Now, at least is a greater than or equal to sign. Now, we know it's got to be the equal to part because if it's at least 50, that means I can have 50 because that means I hit the goal. But we have to have a greater than sign here because I can have $51, right? Saving more dollars or saving more money is a good thing. So we're going to put a greater than or equal to sign here, and we're going to go ahead and solve this. So we're going to do plus 130 on both sides. Okay. The problem of the solving the inequality is not the problem. The problem is setting it up, right? And we can talk about that as we go through because I think there's a couple more like this that are similar on this document. All right, so we're going to do the calculator for this. So 180 divided by 25 is 7.2. Okay, so it's going to be x is greater than or equal to 7.2, which means how many hours does he need to work in order to have at least an extra $50 in his account? He has to work at least 7.2 hours. Now, we know the answer has to have a greater than sign of some sorts in it because I need to hit at least 7.2 hours of working to get this kind of money, right? I can't work less than 7.2 hours. I can't work 1 hour and have $50 in my account. It doesn't work like that. Because if I make $25 per hour, how can I have an extra 50 in my account if I only work 1 hour? I wouldn't even hit 50, right? Regardless of the budget. So the less than signs aren't gonna work. But we're just going to continue with what basically is at least. And at least means it's a greater than or equal to sign. Okay? Hope that was a good explanation. All right, so solve the multi-step inequality. Sure. 2 drops down, negative 3m minus 21 is greater than 1 plus 4m plus 36. Again, we're distributing through. Okay? 2 minus 21 is negative 19 minus 3m is greater than 37 plus 4m. Okay? I like to move the first thing I see, so plus 19 on both sides. Negative 3m is going to be greater than, what's this, 56 plus 4m. Minus 4m on both sides. Okay. And then we're going to have negative 7m is greater than 56. Be really careful here. I am dividing by a negative, which means we're going to have to use the golden rule of inequalities and flip the sign. So this is going to be m is less than negative 8. Right? And that's going to be my final answer. It didn't say to graph it, so we're just going to stop there. Okay. Number 9, solve the multi-step inequality. Sure. Okay, so distributing through, we have 12y minus 28 greater than or equal to 8y plus 16. Minus 12y on both sides will give me negative 28 is greater than negative 4y plus 16. We're going to subtract 16 on both sides, and that's going to give us what? Negative 44 is greater than negative 4y. Okay, so we have a couple of problems here with this setup. Now I'm going to rewrite it over here first. The first problem is that we're not done solving the inequality. I have to divide by a negative on both sides. That's going to give me 11, and I have to flip the sign right now. Okay? Flip the sign immediately after you divide by a negative because the golden rule says I'm supposed to. Now the problem is that if we were to ask to graph this, it's going to be graphed wrong. So we're going to have to flip all of this around, and the reason we do that is because the y or the variable is not on the left. I want the variable on the left so I can graph this appropriately. So that means I'm going to just switch the positions of everything. Y goes on the left, we flip this sign back, and we put the number on the right. Both of these things say the same thing. This is just easier to graph, right? Because the arrow tip is going to the right. Right? All right, number 10. A lot of problems with this question, right? So here, let's just break this down. A balance on a credit card is $784. That means you owe the credit card company $784. The balance is how much is on the card. It's not the same as a balance on like your debit card or in your bank account. If you have a balance on your debit card or your bank account, that means that's how much money you have in your account. That's yours. But a credit card doesn't work like that. That means that's how much you have spent on the credit card and you have to pay it back, right? You want your credit card balance to be zero, right? Always and forever. So having a $784 balance on the credit card isn't great. It's not good at all. So it says, how much money should you send, or how much money should Lily send in for her next payment if she wants the balance to be a maximum of $575? Okay, so if we were at $784, and that's how much we owe, and we want to get to $575, that means we have to pay money, right? So that's going to be a negative because it's going to be coming out of our account, like another bank account. So basically, we're trying to find out how much we're going to spend here. So we're trying to find out what I have to put in there. So it's going to be 784 minus 575, 209. I have to pay $209 to get that balance to 575, right? And if I want 575 to be the maximum, that means I need to pay what? At least 209. So one of these inequalities is going to give us this 209, and it's going to give us the correct breakdown of it. Let's just take A and see if we can solve this. So we're going to solve these inequalities. So 784 minus P is less than or equal to 575. Sorry, I know you can't see that. Okay, I'm going to subtract 784 on both sides. Very strange problem, I know. Negative P is less than or equal to, and again, this is going to be a negative 209. We're dividing by a negative 1 on both sides because I can't keep negative P there. We're flipping the sign, and this is exactly going to be my answer. We got lucky because A was the choice. So basically this means if I want my credit card to be a maximum of 575, that means I could have it to be 500. It can be 525. It can be 485. It can be 0. The maximum means that's the height of it. Like that's the most I'm willing to have on my account. So that means I have to pay at least 209, but I can pay more. So this is the reality of how this problem is set up. You will not have a problem like this on the actual test, but just so you're aware of how it's going to break down. Okay, tough problem. Number 11, what's the solution to the inequality? Okay, well, let's solve it. I'm going to rewrite it because I don't have any space. Okay, minus 12 on both sides. Negative 2x is less than 6. We are using the golden rule here. So this is going to be x is greater than negative 3, and that is going to be choice B. All right. Number 12, find the solution to the inequality. Okay. 22 minus 3y is greater than 7. Subtract 22 on both sides. Negative 3y is greater than, what's this, negative 15? I'm using the golden rule. I'm going to divide by a negative 3 on both sides. So y is going to be less than 5. So that'll be my answer to this inequality. Okay. 13, consider the following inequality. I'm considering it. Here, b is greater than, well, let's find out, right? So 4 plus 3b is greater than 10. It's ugly, sorry. Minus 4 on both sides. 3b is going to be greater than 6. I'm dividing by 3 on both sides, so b is greater than 2. So b is greater than 2. All right? Not too bad. Let's fly through. I might need to do a part 3 of this video. It's pretty long. Okay. Solve and graph the inequality. This is a really simple inequality, right? We're just dividing by 16 on both sides. So x is going to be less than, what, negative 4? If I were to graph it, negative 4 on a number line, open circle going to the left. Okay? Very simple. All right. Solve for u and match the solution to the correct inequality. Okay, well, on this one, if u is divided by 2, the only way to get rid of that 2 in the denominator is to multiply by 2 on both sides. So I'm going to multiply by 2 on both sides. So I'm going to have u is less than or equal to 4. Okay, so yeah, I mean, I'll just do that. Okay, 9u minus 5 is greater than or equal to 13. Add 5 to both sides. So 9u is going to be greater than or equal to 18. Dividing by 9 on both sides gives me u is greater than 2. So u is greater than 2. 4u is less than or equal to 20. This is super easy. Goodness. So u is going to be less than or equal to 5. And then let's just make sure 4u plus 1u, make sure you add those together first, right? 5u is greater than or equal to 35. Dividing by 5 on both sides gives me u is greater than or equal to 7. All right, so just be careful on that. Don't make a silly mistake on a two-step multi-inequality, two-step or multi-step inequality, okay? Solve for x. Okay, this problem gave us a lot of issues when I was taking a look at it last week, right? So x over 4 plus 2.1 is less than 1.6 times the quantity of x minus 2. Okay, first step is we've got to distribute that 1.6 to both of these terms on the inside. It's the first step. Yeah? Can't do anything with the division yet. Technically we could, but that's just really something I don't like doing. 2.1 is less than 1.6x, and then negative 2 times 1.6. I should know this. Negative 3.2. Okay. All right. So now we can do a couple things. Let's go ahead and subtract 2.1 on both sides first. That would be the best bet. So then x over 4 is going to be less than 1.6x minus 5.3. Now we have to multiply by 4 on both sides. It's the only way to get rid of that 4. The problem is we have to use distributive property because if I'm multiplying by both sides or on both sides, that means everything on the right has to get multiplied by this 4, meaning I'm going to create this kind of distributive property thing. 4s are gone over here. X is less than, okay, so 1.6 times 4 is 6.4x minus 5.3 times 4, which is 21.2. Now I can get my x's together by subtracting 6.4x on both sides. Remember, this is 1x. So this is negative 5.4x, which is less than negative 21.2. This is a hideous problem, right? Negative 5.4, I'm dividing on both sides. I am dividing by a negative, so I'm going to be flipping the sign. Negative 21.2 divided by negative 5.4 is going to be a hideously ugly number, right? It's going to give me like, did I do that right even? It's ugly. It's almost 4. So we're going to say x is greater than, I'm going to put 3.9 whatever here. Okay, final answer. So we're going to have x is greater than 3.9. It's still kind of an ugly number, so I apologize on that, right? Okay. All right. Solve and graph the solution for the inequality. Okay, I'm going to try to write small here. So 6 plus 3x is less than or equal to 6 minus 2x minus 25. Okay. Can't do anything on the left-hand side. 6 plus 3x is less than or equal to, what is this, negative 19 minus 2x. Okay. Minus 6 on both sides. 3x is less than or equal to negative 25 minus 2x. Add 2x to both sides. 5x is less than or equal to negative 25, so that cleaned up nice, right? Divide by 5 on both sides is x is less than or equal to negative 5. Okay, and we would graph the solution. Negative 5, closed or filled in circle, arrow is correct. We're going to the left, right? Okay. I know this is a long video already. Let's go ahead and stop, and I'll make a part 3.